Hey, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. Glad you could join us. Today in Soloing Concepts, we're in part 2 on improving your legato technique. Once again, if you're new to this, kind of familiar or very familiar, you're still in the right place because we have something for everyone. All right? So let's just get to it and be sure to like and subscribe to Outsmart Your Guitar along the way. Let's go. All right, in this lesson, we're switching to a minor key. So as a result, you're going to need to change the progression to a minor progression. Therefore, what you see on screen is the new progression. Let's walk through the chords. You got a B minor, G, and an A, back up to the B minor. Now you'll notice we're using all bar chords here. We want to keep our hand strength up, so we don't want to, avoid using bar chords. All right, so the next chord is an A over C sharp. I'm going to keep it really simple to play a 2-note version. Your first note is on the 4th fret of the 5th string, and that's C sharp. And then the next note is at the 7th fret of the 4th string, and that is the A. So you play the C sharp with your first finger, and the A with your 4th finger, right? And there you go. Then just simply slide your first finger up and lay this finger down for the D. Then your F sharp minor, back to the G and the A. Okay? Now, I want you to notice that sideways V thing over the music. You'll notice it's on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th beat of the 1st and 3rd measures. In the 2nd measure, it's over 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it's also over the and of 4. In the last measure, you'll see it's on 1 and 2 and. You'll notice the tie between the and of 2 and 3. Carry that note over so you don't play 3. You come back in on the and of 3, 4, and, all accented as well. Now, how do you play the accented notes? Well, I'm going to give you a simplified way of doing it. Number 1, play your B minor and strum the whole chord. Do that at your normal strum pressure. Now, on the end of 1, you're playing as well, so just play the 6th and the 5th string, but lighten up. Right? So 1 and 2 and, right? So to walk through this slowly to show you how this works, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And because the A over C sharp is on the and of 4, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you're back up to the B, right? So maximum tempo is 88 beats a minute. So let me play through this at 88 beats a minute. 3, 4. Pretty straightforward and pretty cool because you learn to use accents now to help you create a little more interesting sounding progression, even though normally it's just. But with adding the accents, we create a little bit more interest and break it up from the typical. Right? So remember, when you're playing the accent notes, strum the whole chord. Everything else, just strum the bottom couple of strings. And that's it. Pause the video. If you need to rewind and watch the walkthrough and explanation, go ahead and do that. Then pause and practice this and get it down, smooth it out, and put it to a metronome. Now remember, when you learn to play the legato phrases that follow, you may need to play this at a slower tempo than 88 beats a minute, so don't record it into your looper just yet. wait until you know what tempo you can play the legato licks at. Then you record the rhythm at that tempo so you can then play over the rhythm part. All right? Then press play when you're ready to keep going. All right, a little preparatory. We have the pentatonic minor in the first position on the screen. And what I want to do is have you play through this, if only to warm up, right? So it's really straightforward. We're starting at the 7th fret on the 6th string and hammering to 10, right? And then you move over and you start at 7 on the 5th string and hammer to 9. 4th string, 7, hammer 9. 3rd string, 7, hammer 9. 2nd string, 7, hammer 10. 1st string, 7, hammer to 10 and pull to 7. 2nd string, 10, pull to 7. 3rd string, 9, pull to 7. 4th string, 9, pull to 7. 5th string, 9, pull to 7. 6th string, 10, pull to 7. And then play it through. Ugh. And that's why you want to practice this, right? All right, it was my thumb. Having your thumb back here a little bit actually will help you navigate both ascending and descending. And so you want to use a little bit of your picking hand palm mute to keep everything else fairly quiet. All right, so, and that's why we review. Sometimes we're getting comfortable doing things a certain way when we really need to fix a problem that prevents it from being well done. For me, I brought my thumb up the first time through, and that created a problem when we got back down here. The second time, I kept my thumb mostly in position, and that helped me both in ascending and descending. And if I used a little bit of palm mute here, it helped keep all the other strings fairly quiet. All right, so pause the video and go ahead and practice this and get it down. And it doesn't have to be blisteringly fast. You just play it nice and easy tempo, getting the technique down properly. Again, quality of execution, right? And then press play when you're ready to keep going. All right, let's look at the first passage and how it's put together. The first measure is basically a scale sequence pattern. It's a 4-note pattern. You're going to start on the 10th fret of the 1st string and pull off to 7. Do the 10th fret on the 2nd string, back to 7 on the 1st string. And that's the pattern. Then we move over a string. 10 on 2nd string, 7, you pull off to 7, 9 on the 3rd string, back to 7 on the 2nd string. And then the 3rd and the 4th string versions are very much the same. So you 9 on the 3rd string, pull off to 7, 9 on the 4th string, 7 on the 3rd string. Do the same thing on the 4th string. 4th string at 9, pull off to 7, 9 on the 5th string, back to 7 on the 4th string. So it would sound like this. Now, if you want to pause the video after each measure, go ahead and do that and really work it out. It's a good way to go. All right? But we're going to keep going. But you can pause and catch up as you wish. All right, second measure, you're on 9 on the 5th string to 7, down to 5, hammer on to 7, pull off to 5, go to 7 on the 6th string, 5, hammer on to 7, move to 5 on the 5th string, hammer on the 7, pull off to 5, 7 on the 6th string, 5 on the 5th string, back to 7 on the 6th string, and 5 on the 5th string. Okay? So that measure. Now that next to the last two notes, that's an 8th note held, and then, right? So you have 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay? And that's how that works. Again, if you want to pause and get this measure down, go ahead and do that. Then add it to the first measure and put them both together. Then you can move on to the third measure, which we've ended on this in the second measure. We're going to slide up to 9 on the 5th string with our 3rd finger, 7 on the 4th string, playing that twice, 9 on the 4th string, 7 on the 3rd string, slide up to 11, then 10 on the 2nd string, twice, 12 on the 2nd string, and then 10 on the 1st string, 9, 10 on the 2nd string, 9 on the 3rd string. Those are the last two measures slowed down. All right? So, absolutely, go ahead and pause and work this out and take your time. Absolutely. This is not a super hard lick, even played slow. But it is a little involved because of the hammer-ons and pull-offs. So go ahead and take your time and really work that out. Smooth and flowing. Then put it to a metronome where you can play it smooth and flowing. There's the tempo you want to record your rhythm at into the looper so that you can play this over that. All right? So go ahead and take your time and put all that together. Take 10 minutes or more, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes. It's up to you how long that takes. But don't skip out on anything. Don't gloss over anything. Take your time, make this work, because these are some pretty cool licks. All right? Then press play when you're ready to keep going. Oh, silly me, I forgot to include a playthrough of what you're going for. What is it supposed to sound like? So let me take care of that right now. So there you go. Okay, again, take your time with this. Quality of execution is what you want. And I did it at 88 beats a minute. If you're not up to that, that's okay. Play it where you're able to play it well. That's more important. Okay, there you go. I just want to swoop in here real quick and remind you, down in the description, you'll see a link to patreon.com/outsmart your guitar. I encourage you to go on over there, subscribe, and become a patron. In so doing, you will unlock access to lessons that are not contained here, expanded versions of some of the lessons that are contained here, and all the written material for every video lesson. Sound good? All right, do it. Let's get back to the lesson. I'm going to take a little bit different tack on this passage. This passage runs twice through the progression because that makes it more in line with what a real solo more often than not is. Around 8 bars, maybe 12 bars long in a lot of tunes. I know in a lot of the more heavier rock stuff, solos can go on and on. But in most songs, a solo is generally a highlight, not a primary feature of the song. So I'm just going to play through this, and then instead of going over every little bit, I'm just going to detail a couple of highlights for you to be careful and pay attention to. All right? All right, as I said, I'm going to walk through this a little bit differently. Rather than show you everything note for note, I'm just going to focus on a few things that I really want you to pay attention to. First and foremost is I'm running through the progression 2 times. That makes it an 8-bar solo. Now, in most songs, a solo is a highlight of the tune, not the reason the tune exists, as is the case in a number of hard rock tunes. And hard rock solos tend to be 12, 16, 24 plus bars long as well. It's not unusual that they are pretty long. But again, as I said, most solos are around 8 to 12 bars long. And so I've kept this in the 8-bar realm. Now, the next thing I want you to also pay attention to as you're going over this is that the solo is broken into phrases. There are 2 phrases per passage through the progression, so there's 4 phrases in total. So we start in the second position at the beginning of the solo with the very first phrase, and 8th note legato ultimately. Okay, it's pretty straightforward stuff. Okay? The next phrase is 16th notes, and for most of the run, it is just that, a descending run, starting at the 4th position and ending up in the 3rd position. Right? And now we have a little turn around to bring it to the end of the phrase. And then we stay in the 3rd position, but then we're going to move to the 2nd and 1st position for the next phrase, which starts at the beginning of the progression the 2nd time through. We have a pickup to go into it. Ending in the 1st position. Then the 4th phrase is triplet 8s in the 1st position and a little bit in the 5th position. And that brings the solo to its end. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause the video, and if you need to go back and listen to the performance to get it clear in your head what you're going for, go ahead and do that. Then pause the video again and walk through this 2 measures at a time. Do each phrase individually and then connect them together and smooth them out, and then put them to a metronome at a tempo where you can play them. And when you've got all 4 phrases together, find the tempo where you can play it smooth and flowing. Remember, I always emphasize quality of execution, because if you can play something really well at a slower tempo, That's going to take you further than trying to play something fast and not being able to do it. Speed will come with time for those of you who are still early in your journey playing lead guitar. Don't worry about it. Get the quality of the execution to play the part well, even if it's slow, and you'll do a lot more to lay a great firm foundation because you're learning great licks to begin with. Speeding them up is just a matter of the time it takes to get your speed up. Don't worry about it, okay? Then, really get this together. The the passages you're learning in this lesson have a lot to offer you, particularly here where we're actually bringing to your attention the phrasing element that is involved in this 8-bar solo. Okay, when you're ready to continue, press play and we'll wrap things up. All right, there you have it. More legato fun. Now, I really want you to pay attention to your legato technique as you move forward. Don't let it fall into disrepair. And actually, I encourage you about everything that you're doing. I know it's a lot to keep on your plate. I got to do this and this and this and this and this, all these different techniques. Well, I'll tell you a secret. The best way to maintain techniques is to learn songs that use them. Now, that means learning multiple songs so that you cover all the different techniques you know, right? Legato being one among them. So if you have two-hand tapping that you're doing, get a song that uses two-hand tapping. If you want legato, get a song that uses legato. If you want to work on hammer-ons and pull-offs, you can get songs that do that, like country licks, right, with open strings. That's a great one for hammers and pull-offs. And arpeggios, get songs that use arpeggios and work those out. So absolutely, this is critical to maintaining skills and learning and improving your skills, is to play songs that have those in them. All right? So there you go. I thank you so much for letting me spend this time with you. It really does mean a lot. And you guys are awesome. All right, so I got a lot more material, as you know. Go ahead and peruse that and see what it has to offer you and learn something new. All right, and we'll see you there.